Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name's Daniel. I own a company called leadlock.ai, and what we do is AI automations, custom programming, things of that nature. But today, I decided to do something for my friend who has a gigantic Twitter following, over 100,000 people, and we wanted to kind of dive in and analyze his tweets for sentiment analysis, the main topics that are successful, the best times to post, and other various insights. So let me kind of guide you through the process of what I did in order to do that, so you all can do it as well. So the first thing we did is define the objectives. That's just part one of our data understanding, right? So if we just minimize everything here, I can kind of show you a big overview of what's going on. So first we want to understand our data, what we want to get out of it. Then we want to do some data cleaning, some preparation, analysis, and of course we will get our insights and visualize our insights in forms of graphs, charts, correlations, things of that nature. So the first thing we did is kind of brainstorm some questions, what we want to get out of it. And as I mentioned, sentiment analysis, what's the optimum character limit, best times to post, what are the best historic weeks and months that he's had since he started the account. He's in FinTwit, so he posts some stock tickers a lot. What is the relation between posting with the stock and then, or underlying, and then not posting with the stock, and then also which underlyings show the best possible which tickers were the most effective in terms of retweet count and favorite count. So there's a lot of things we did. Hashtag effectiveness, to include media or not to include media. Does the source of where he's uploading the tweet matter, whether it's from the computer, a cell phone, iPhone, things of that nature. Time zone effect, which turned out to not matter at all. Let's see. Influence of source, description. So we basically went in and categorized all his 14,000 of his tweets and kind of shows which topics provoke the most engagement, which ones are the most successful. So we did a pretty comprehensive analysis. So first thing, we're exploring the data set. We're just importing the CSV file here, and this is in Google Colab's notebook, which uses Python and pandas to create data frames and then manipulate those data frames, right? So here we go here, just kind of checking, just doing some preliminary checks, seeing what values are what. There's like 400 some columns, 407 columns, the majority of which are absolutely useless, but we wanted to define the utility with this program here in order to determine in a numerical method which columns may be dropped. So that's what we did. As we can see, we got 14,000 tweets. So then we went on to clean the data. So what we did is we found the columns that we needed to perform all of these tasks we said we wanted to above here. So we found the necessary columns to do that, and then we kind of just erased the rest. So, optimum times to post, this is what we determined we need, these columns, right? So then we got, an amalgamation of the columns that we needed, as you can see, for the various tasks we wanted to perform. So great, everything's going pretty good so far. So we just made a new data frame called tweets cleaned with these columns that we needed to do. And then we ran an info check to see, the data types and things like that. And here's just the first 5 entries of that data frame we created. Then we had to handle the missing data. So we did that, just filling in where it says non with null values, right? And then we determined based off of this column that there were 9,084 tweets that were standalone tweets that were not replies, right? And then there was 5,000 reply tweets. It's pretty good, right? So then here we converted the data types. So we had to convert how the format comes out is in kind of a clustered date time format that needed to be changed in order to perform analysis. So that's what we did there. And then we also created a new column called clean text, which took, as you can see here, takes the RT for retweet away, takes the @ and then the user away. All of these things takes them away. And then also media links and things like that. And what you're just left with is just the text with the clean text. And we did that in order to perform, sentiment analysis, and just see if they were different, which we'll see in a bit. They were statistically different, but not too much different. That'll make sense here in a bit. So then, we got a column to show if it's a retweet or not. We added that additional column. And we got this number. So these are the retweets. These are standalone tweets. And then these are reply tweets. So, obviously if it's a retweet, you can be responding to somebody. So now we're doing our data preparation, right? So we want to determine the character count. We want to determine sentiment. We want to extract hashtags. And we also extracted tickers and ats, so who we were actually replying to. So then, here we go. We got a column for the number of characters for each tweet. We determine that. And then we'd have some basic statistics. And of course, because we did create a column that was the cleaned tweets, the text, we wanted to do the statistical analysis on both. So that's what we did. And as you can see, the standard deviation is essentially the same. The mean is a lot different, right? But interestingly enough, standard deviation is the same. How can it be a minimum of 0 for the clean text? Well, if my client was just responding with an image or something, responding with a link to somebody, then that @ would be disappearing, and then the image link would also be disappearing. So that's what we would want, because otherwise there's nothing to extract the sentiment from a link, So here we go. So here's a summary of our data cleaning, that 3.1.1 summarized here. So this is, as I just mentioned, this is removing URLs, mentions, and just cleaning the text. Here we go. Some tweets may have contained only URLs or mentions, which were removed during the cleaning. The max was 280, median 89. So we got some good details from that, right? So here we are preparing the tweet text for sentiment analysis here. We want to determine if the tweet is positive, negative, or neutral. And so we're using a library called TextBlob. We had to install that, and we set up a function to determine the polarity. And here we go. Here's like a first 5 entries where we can see what the polarity is. And we, of course, did it for the clean text and the original text that has all the URLs, links, and mentions still in it. And we wanted to determine if there was a statistical difference between the sentiment analysis of those two text fields. So we actually did determine that there was a statistical significance between the two. However, if I find it, there was only 138 tweets out of this 14,000 that were different in terms of the sentiment analysis. But that number was high enough where it was statistically significant. Okay. And, what we found as well, here we go. Here's all the positive, negative, neutral tweets. So we determined that, most of his tweets are neutral, which makes sense. It is kind of a financial Twitter account. You shouldn't be too opinionated on it. But, it's kind of makes sense because paralleling with the market, it goes up, it ranges, it stays the same a bit, and then it drops off. But overall, it's always kind of going like this, right? So it's interesting to note over time, sentiment could be correlated with the actual flow of the market. So then we extracted the hashtags, mentions, and stock tickers from every tweet. We did that with regex and created different columns for each one, the hashtag, mention, and stock ticker. And then we, of course, counted the presence of those. So a lot of his tweets, more than half, had mentions in them. So they were reply tweets. Right? And then, not really sure what the number is out of 14,000. Probably maybe 7% or so, 6-7% of his tweets had stock tickers in them. It's interesting. So then we wanted to determine and find the media presence in tweets. So that's what we did here. So 4,000 of his tweets had media, 10,000 did not. And of course, we have a summary of our findings to kind of wrap it all up. So we have tweets with media, without, tweets with hashtags, mentions, stickers. We have sentiment analysis. Pretty much all of the tweets had the same sentiment between full text and clean text. Like I said, there was only 138 that had differentiating sentiments, which to me isn't much, but with this chi-square test, with the p-value of 0, that does indicate that there is a statistical difference, and it is actually significant. So, again, overview of our sentiment analysis and our text analysis, the various number of characters per tweet, some statistical averages, min-max, medians of that. And then we wanted to, after that, take that time column and then extract the hour, extract the minute, extract the week, extract the month for the various years. And then I put it into Eastern Standard Time and then Pacific Time where he lives, just so it would make more sense for him, client. So here we go. We have we wanted to display more columns just because when I was doing it, now the data frame has more columns. I wanted to see the results for all the columns instead of the default, which only showed like 10. I wanted to show all 20. So I put that in there. That doesn't really matter for you guys though. So then what we did is, well, as we can see, we already identified the stock ticker mentions in a previous step. So we go down here into data analysis. where we actually we're taking our clean data, our new columns we created, and we're making sense of it all, right? So the first thing I did was create a correlation map between all of the numerical features in the data set. And, obviously there's going to be a correlation between the character count full text and the character count clean text. I mean, these are kind of obvious. And then as well, here was the sentiment, polarity, and then the sentiment clean and full text, clean and full text. These items are making sense, right? And then the month and week number, there's a correlation, month, week, right? These numbers are all making sense. And obviously the favorite and retweet, there's correlation there as well. So that was pretty cool to look at, right? Let me just go to the top here. So we made some other charts. So we wanted to determine how many retweets are being made during this specific hour of the day. So it seemed to be 9 and 11. And this is not the client, my client actually retweeting. This is how many retweets he's getting from posts. So like say he posts at different times of the day. Well, he's going to get more retweets if he posts at 9 and 11 than say at 11 o'clock. And this is from Seattle time. So here, same thing, favorites of the day. And remember, causation does not indicate correlation. For example, he could have just makes the majority of his tweets around this time. Okay? But we prove further along that it is actually indeed around 8 o'clock where his optimum post times are. But we'll get to that in a second. Anyway, so this is the average retweets by the day of the week here. So as you can see, Tuesday seems to be a great time. Sunday as well. And then same thing, Tuesday and Sunday seem to be the best times. Pretty interesting, right? Then here, what we're doing is showing his average retweets by the week since he opened the account. Can see he kind of hit virality around this 39th week of the year 2022, which correlates to probably a rally in the market. If we look, we can determine that. I believe that was around the GameStop thing. So again, average favorites by the week. I mean, you can kind of see pretty correlated here, retweets and favorites. And then here's retweets over time. So, how much of his tweets are getting retweeted over time. Here's kind of the overall trend. So you can see he's going pretty up. I would say, about right here. It's going up pretty good. And then the favorites, I mean, I'm sure when I talk to him later, he'll tell me what this one was. I could determine it too, but I'd like to hear the story from him because this is pretty phenomenal. I mean, you were going from an average of 500 and then boom, you got 3,000 here. Pretty interesting. Let me go up here. So this is the retweets by the hour of the day. So again, as we're seeing around 9 o'clock, around this time frame, and this is New York time, so Eastern Standard Time. So actually above, I lied to you. Okay, it is here. Where is it? Yeah, I said here earlier was Seattle. It's actually New York time, Eastern Standard Time. So let's keep going down. Show you more. Okay. Lost track of where I was. Sorry. Okay, yes. So here's what I was just showing you. Yep. So here we are now, right? Great. So let's just keep continuing. You know, there's some correlation matrix between the number of tweets and retweet count. And this is just showing, like, believe per day. Let me see. Yeah. So it'd be the engagement per day. So, you know, essentially, this is kind of showing that the higher the amount of tweets you put out per day, it's correlating roughly with the number of retweets you're going to have. And then, of course, this makes sense. The favorite to retweet is going to be correlated. The more popular a post is, the more these two metrics are going to be in unison with each other. And yeah, so as you can see, basically the more tweets he puts out per day, the higher the retweet is going to be and the favorite's going to be. Keep going. So on average, he posts about 12, let's just say 13 tweets a day. Okay. The minimum that he has posted every single day, otherwise his minimum will be 0. He's posted every single day since the start of his account, which is quite impressive. Okay. That's consistency. So then we wanted to kind of categorize the different tweets. So we did that. Ticker tweet, retweet tweet, reply tweet, regular tweet, right? In order to conduct our analysis, do the same analysis we did earlier, but kind of trying to see if there is a difference. Let me keep going up. A lot of charts I made here. So average retweets by hour of the day. And this is reply tweets. So you can see it's a little bit different here, right? But you're still seeing around this kind of area, 8 or 9. Interestingly, he doesn't do any reply tweets between 9 and 10, or 8 and 10. So the average favorites for a reply tweet that he tweets gonna be more in terms of this area, this time of the day, at late afternoon. Average retweets by the day of the week, reply tweets. This is gonna be, well, it's actually Sunday and Monday, or Tuesday, same as before. So it's kind of interesting. And then favorites, same kind of thing for reply tweets. And you know, to reiterate, a reply tweet is him just replying to a tweet. So we're tracking the popularity of, or the engagement rate of those reply tweets he's making here. So we have the week numbers for the year, which week numbers perform the best. You know, and these are probably the result of just incredibly popular tweets. So there's really no statistical significance in this. Again, this is a kind of an outlier, as you can see. The rest seems pretty steady. Perhaps is greater during the month of May, or the months of springtime. Seem to have higher volume than the months of December, which makes sense. You know, this is when Christmas and, you know, the New Year's is happening. People are kind of slowing down. spending more time with their family and stuff. So then here we have the retweets by month. And, as I just mentioned, these later months, not so much as summer. Summertime seems to be the best time for him. Same kind of thing. Summertime. And here we see this outlier again here. And here, this tweet just absolutely crushed it. So here we got the average retweets by hour. And this has taken over the entirety of all of his tweets since the beginning. So we're getting kind of the same thing for reply tweets here. So retweets by hour, this is a ticker tweet. This is when he puts a stock ticker in there. So interestingly enough, it's not at 9 o'clock. It's a little later in the afternoon when he puts these ticker tweets. And this is, let's see, about 11 o'clock in the day. So this would be like 8 or 9 New York time. Same kind of thing. Then you got that Tuesday and Sunday. They seem to be the most, Tuesday, Sunday. So we're seeing that with all of the tweets here. And then, of course, we're also seeing, this springtime. But here we have a fall time pickup. But again, these are coming from those two outliers that totally boost the rest of the data set. Same kind of thing. Here's a ticker tweet. It's about Q2 of the year. Same thing. So the month of June, interestingly enough, unlike the reply tweets, these ticker tweets seem to be doing better. Seem to be doing better around this time and this time. Same thing. For ticker tweets, there's really doesn't appear to be any kind of outliers here. They all seem to be pretty high. So we got this. Okay. So then, average retweets by the hour of the day. A lot of charts to look at. Here we go as well. By week number, this is just a thread tweet. Here we go again. So we have all of this. It's just some various different graphs made that didn't prove to show much. Some other ones, retweets by the hour of the day. As we're seeing that 9 o'clock mark keeps making its debut. And then, of course, the Tuesday and Sunday as well. And still getting a lot of volume in terms of engagement around this area. Springtime. Springtime again. Spring, early summer. Spring, early summer. And this is probably the result of this huge outlier here in June. But then if you look at this, stayed pretty consistent. You still see a big chunk of the volume around here. Just keep going. This was average retweets by the hour. Okay, great. So then we wanted to perform kind of a character count analysis. So interestingly enough, we have here it's negative and positive, and neutral. So what we found is negative and neutral seem to perform better in terms of engagement than positive. Right? So negative performs the best. So if he tweets negative, he seems to get a greater return in engagement. Or, at least neutral. Neutral and negative. So we did a correlation test here. So we have negative tweets, retweets. So you can see it's higher than positive. Neutral seems to have the greatest favorites. But it's all very interesting. These are tweets that contain a ticker versus no ticker. So, the ones that contain a ticker seems to perform almost twice as good. Right? Again. So tweets containing stock tickers receive significantly more retweets on average compared to ones that do not have that. Then we have hashtag analysis. We see the top hashtags he's been using. But the tweets that have no hashtags perform about twice as better in terms of engagement, twice as good as the ones that do have hashtags. Then we found the top hashtags here. BlackRock has a really high retweet account, favorite account. So yeah, if the hashtag is selected strategically, then it does increase engagement. However, if the hashtag is not strategically selected, it doesn't really do anything with the engagement. So then we wanted to do the same with the tickers. So here we determined, we have favorite account. It's almost twice as many favorites and twice as many retweets when you do include a stock ticker, which is pretty interesting. And then here is all of the retweet account, favorite account, total engagement for the top 10 performing tickers. So we got, here we go here. So we wanted to then determine if media plays a role. And that had a moderate positive correlation. But very moderate, right? But tweets containing media have significantly higher engagement compared to text-only tweets. The standard deviation in both retweets and favorites is larger for tweets containing media, indicating more variability in engagement. Median engagement for media tweets is substantially higher than the text-only tweets. So then we wanted to see if there's any difference in terms of where the tweet is coming from: Android, iPhone, mobile web, Twitter web, Typefully. And here we go. So the mobile platforms, and this would be something probably that correlates to him just tweeting on the move and not thinking as much. Because if you're on the computer, you got to you're more thinking about what you're tweeting. But if he's just doing it on his iPhone or whatever, it's going to be higher. So iPhone has the highest maximum favorites. Typefully shows decent engagement, but it's not as high as just those mobile platforms he's posting from. So really, as long as he's posting, it seems quick. If he gets something, notification, okay, I should tweet about this, does it on his phone, that's going to have that effect of getting a higher engagement. So then wanted to determine other trends. So he found the words that are most commonly used in his tweets, and then with those words we determined 30 different categories that his tweets are in, and then we did some here we go, this is pretty cool. Average sentiment by polarity of the topic. So this would be, GME, banks, Fed, Bitcoin, dollar. So you can see his tweets on the dollar have higher sentiment polarity. Which, to be honest, doesn't say anything. I just kind of did that for the hell of it. So then what I did is I did that again, and it got installed text blob. And then, what we did is here we go. We got sentiment distribution, which we did. This is just we did it a different way with text blob, but it's the same numbers. So then we took these most common words, right? And then we came up with this categorization. So here we go. So we have this one, financial crisis and stability. There were some that were uncategorized, like this one, salad. Okay, that's not really what his main focus is, so it's not going to show up in those categories that we determined. So here we go. We have just stock market trends, and this kind of correlates to what we were saying earlier. If he puts a ticker in there, you're going to have a higher engagement. So stock market trends are pretty high. Banking and finance is pretty up there. Again, financial instruments and derivatives, pretty high here. This one's good. Retail trading phenomena. This is coming from the GameStop era, so that's going to be pretty high. So he has some pretty good insight now on what he should tweet about, mostly. And that'll be financial instruments and retail phenomena, which do have an overlap as well. And then things that have a lower engagement, like public sentiment, consumer behavior, bailouts, market sentiment analysis, they don't perform as well. So, yeah, that's what I did for my client, and we'll show that to him today, get some more feedback. But as you can see, this is pretty doable on a Google Colab notebook. If you know how to do some data analysis with Python, very doable. If you want me to do the same for you, just let me know. I can do it for you. I'll be charging probably $100 for something like this. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and have a good one.